order for you and me to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough. And it is because of our effort toward getting straight to the root that people oftentimes think we're dealing in hate. We are oppressed. We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy. The Muslim believe that the white man is intelligent enough. If he were made to realize how black people really feel and how fed up we are without that old compromise and sweet talk. Stop sweet talking him. Tell him how you feel. Tell him what kind of hell you've been catching, and let him know that if he's not ready to clean his house up, if he's not ready to clean his house up, he shouldn't have a house. It should catch on fire and burn down.
Welcome to the Networking with Michelle podcast, the show dedicated to providing you with life strategies with a little bit of entrepreneur advice. Here we believe in the Jim Rohn quote, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Hey everyone, welcome to the Networking with Michelle show. I'm your host, Michelle Gomez, and we are doing a special series, Perspective of Black Lives. I'm going to do 10 episodes. And if you're a longtime listener, I did this back in 2016 when we were dealing once again with this series of police shootings towards Black men and women. And if you are following current events, the same thing is going on. And, you know, I have to use my voice. So before I dive in, I want to acknowledge that the intro, that was Malcolm X. In 1962, a confrontation with the LAPD outside a mosque ended in the death of a Nation of Islam member. And from that, Malcolm X gave a speech addressing police brutality. Now, I did edit that speech, but you can find a 2-minute clip on YouTube under the Smithsonian channel. The link's in the bio. And what pains me, there's several things that pain me, right? The first thing is when I did the first series of Perspective of Black Lives, I have recordings of Martin Luther King Jr. speeches. I have like 10 speeches, and like every February I'll listen to them, or every January and February I'll listen to them. And I just feel like 4 years ago, we as Black people, we did the silence thing. You know, we did the silence, and the kneeling protest were at a minimum. But now I feel like we have every right to be on some other shit. I feel now it's just magnified 1,000x. I should say 400x, because that's how many years it's been, right? And what pains me is that, you know, whether it's Martin or Malcolm, these are speeches they did in 1962 that are still relevant in 2020. Like, no matter how much progress was made, it's like we still go back in time over the same bullshit. I don't get it. These speeches are almost 60 years old, and they're still relevant because Black people are still fighting for their lives, right? So the last time I did this, we had Philando Castile was the name the person of choice, right? There was a series of people, but that was the one that had people in an uproar. And if we go back to 2018, we have Botham John. He was at home eating ice cream in his living room when a white police officer said she was at the wrong apartment. She thought there was an intruder and she shot him. We have Atatiana Jefferson was babysitting her nephew at home when a neighbor wanted to call the police for a welfare check. Officer was walking around the house, saw someone through the window, and he immediately shot. We have Eric Reason, who is pulling into a parking spot just to get something to eat. He didn't make it. We have Dominique Clayton at home in bed. We have Breonna Taylor at home in bed. And now we have George Floyd, who was at the grocery store, at a convenience store. And this is, and like, what irks me is that these are things I do. Like, I'm not bothering anybody. I think I'm not bothering anybody, and I will end up losing my life. I'm in and out the gas station all the time. Gas station across the street from my apartment, getting gas, buying whatever. Walgreens. At home, sleep in my bed every night. You know, if I can't find peace at home, where can I find peace? And Black people are getting shot. Shit's fucking ridiculous. I don't like it. So I decided once again to call on some experts, call on some good Black people, sound people of sound mind, so we can discuss these issues. And not just, and the thing is, we're already discussing the issues, we're aware of the issues, but how are we going to deal with these current events and move forward in a healthy manner, right? So I'm looking forward to this series. I plan on covering a lot. So I plan on, so I just finished interviewing one guest, and we talked about racial trauma. So that's probably why this intro's a little difficult. We start just recollecting stuff. But no, we're talking about racial trauma. I interviewed a psychotherapist. We talked about the importance of a Black man and the Black family unit in the movement. Talked to another friend. Y'all know I'm from Cameroon American. She's Nigerian American. And what we need to do within the diaspora to move the Black Lives Matter, have that movement go forward, and coming together and unifying us to overcome a lot of issues. And I also want to keep talking about just the relationship dynamic. I think that's very important. I plan on interviewing people to discuss the economic development, entrepreneurship within the Black community. You know, there's a lot of small businesses, but there's businesses that we need, right? And I say this all the time, and I'm sure people gonna come for me because they always do. And I'm selling T-shirts and apparels, and you know, that's cool. But there's products that we need. Like, everyone wants to, and I say this loosely because these things are important, right? Yes, we need to buy the block. Yes, we need to buy Black. But the thing is, we don't have a full community. There's things that we need. There's like, who's a carpenter? Who's going to build this desk that my computer and microphone are on, right? Who's going to build a car? Who's going to build the valve for whatever? Like, I don't know. I'm not an engineer, right? And I say that to say, because we have to grow. Black people, we have to grow. We can't stick to the things that are sexy. right? Selling t-shirts and makeup and beauty products, yes, that's important, but those are sexy things. We need things that are fucking practical. So who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? Who's going to create their idea? Who's going to keep their idea? Who's going to invest in the community? And the community is going to reinvest in them. Who's going to do it? That way we truly have a community. Who's going to build the house? Right? Yes, we need to buy back the block. And we need to rebuild. Who's going to build new stuff? Who's going to have the coffee shop? There's elements that are very, very practical that need to be created within the Black community that we haven't done yet. And because we haven't, it's hard to let go of the dependency of white supremacy. There, I said it, right? And when I say white supremacy, I mean the system, right? I mean the collective unit that's causing us to go to Walmart, right? And a lot of it's convenience. Everyone's like, when's the Black grocery store? There's Black grocery stores. I'm guilty. I haven't fully supported the Black grocery store. I've been to some African grocery stores, right? But Walmart is 5 minutes. Walmart is between my residence and my place of work, right? So I need to have the mindset to go out of my way, stock up on Saturday, the African store or the Black grocery store, and get all of my goods, right? And I get it. And I'm not perfect. But we really do have to change our mind, because once we change our mind, we can change our behavior and create a system, the system of habit of buying Black, right? And lots of times we run out of stuff and be like, okay, we're just going to run to Walgreens. Look, this is me. Want to run to Walgreens, pick this up, right? Go to the dollar store, pick this up. Go to Walmart, pick this up, right? But let's take a moment and be like, okay, if we think early, if we just think ahead, it's like, okay, I can go across town to this Black shop and buy some candles for a birthday gift. Or I can just order it in time. That way it arrives in time. And this is the wedding gift, right? Or maybe I just meet this person halfway and, pick up the items that way. We really have to consciously think about buying Black. And I know it takes work. But we have to get to the point where we can invest 25% of our income into the Black community. And I don't know what that 25% is going to look like. I don't know if it's donations to a nonprofit, especially right now, social justice, prison reform, politics, buying soap, maybe a Black person on Amazon, because, a lot of these white people are selling Black Lives Matter t-shirts on Etsy, selling Black Lives Matter t-shirts on Amazon. Be mindful when you're making those purchases, because they will take our stuff and monetize. They are good at that. So we really have to be mindful when it comes to buying Black. This is my rant. It's like my intro rant. But I'm hurting. I'm just like, me personally, I'm good, but I'm hurting for the community. So then I'm not good. And I want to tell y'all about my week at work, because that was like, so Memorial Day is when the Amy Cooper, Chris Cooper video and George Floyd video started going viral. And so that week, I don't know, I had like crazy stuff going on, like people hacking my social media accounts and my website. So I was very in my world, that Tuesday and Wednesday when I got to work. And then I think Thursday it caught up to me. And then Friday, when the protests were like picking up, obviously that weekend, I was just so locked in. Like, what? I don't have cable, so I was watching all these YouTube videos and back and forth on social media, watching videos, and like stuff was just crazy. And I was entertained and sad. And Saturday, I was like, I spent so many hours on the phone just talking to friends about everything that's going on. And then Sunday, I just felt like I was in a sunken place. Like the tears were starting to come. And I remember sitting on my couch. Like, I usually don't have the Sunday night blues, but I remember I was on the couch and I was like, I can't. I was like, what are they going to say to me? They better not say the wrong thing. And I was like, I need to take off for work on Friday. All right. So Monday morning, I went in, put my time off, and that wasn't a problem. And I felt like there was some slight tension. So I work in a law firm. There's 7 of us. And so it's 6 women, 1 guy, the lawyer, and 2 Black women. And so my coworker that's Black, I preface it with the fact that she's biracial. And I feel like I just have to say that for context, right? But she's a Black woman. She identifies as a Black woman. And I felt like there was some slight tension. And me and her kind of had, it was the tension of people not knowing what to say, what to do. It was kind of like, are you okay? You sure you're okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm okay. And then that can go back to me, right? Like, that's my fault. Maybe I should, speak up. I should have spoken up. So that is definitely my bad. So my colleague and I, we definitely had some side conversations about everything that was going on. And I think maybe that was the relief, those little nuggets you kind of just hold and draw on. And Tuesday, I felt I was okay. Wednesday is when it started getting crazy. So now, I'm sorry, this is like the first week of June, right? So Wednesday is when it started getting crazy, right? Because my friends were texting me. They're like, hey, has your job said anything? Is your job going to say anything? And I was like, no, I don't expect them to. And then I'm also the president of the African American Marketing Association. So a lot of white people started reaching out to me like, oh, we're serious about our diversity and inclusion initiative. Can we post this on your job board? Can we do this? Can we do that? We don't have anything now, but I want to build a relationship. And I was just like, whoa, right? And don't get me wrong. I've had a series on white recruiters and just recruiters in general, to be honest with you. Recruiters reach out to me because of our job board throughout the past year. But this was just an influx, right? Given the current climate. And hey, I'm here for it. Like, I could say that now, I'm here for it. But at that moment, it was very overwhelming, right? And that whole week, I was very conflicted. So I'm in this constant state of trying to process my emotions on this situation. How do I feel as a Black woman in America working in white corporate space, which is pretty much all I know. And technically this isn't corporate, but it's a small business, but still in a white space. So we go to the thing, how do you navigate white spaces? And then you look around, everywhere is a white space. So it leads to constant navigation. So I was very conflicted. As a marketer, as a Black marketer in a white space, do I lend my words for my company, right? Do I lend my words for my company? And I didn't know. I really didn't know. Also, what was going on is I had my friends texting me, emailing me, hey, Michelle, I'm about to go to a meeting. Can you review this for me? Can you look at this for me? I just got out of a meeting about the situation and the conversation didn't go well, or they turned my ideas down. So I had a handful of friends reaching out to me because of that. And I just felt like my energy was best served in that area. I felt like my energy was best served for the email, regarding the emails I was receiving for the association. I felt like my energy was best served outside of work, to be honest with you. And I believe that because I know my purpose. I'm very fortunate to work in the space that I am. Everything I do is marketing. I know my purpose. I'm led by my purpose. And that's the economic development of Black folks, right? That's the very short thing. And that is served outside of work. I know my paycheck is invested in me and my community. So I'm going to do what I need to do to get through this day, to get through this week. And I'm going to put my energy where it's best suited, which is outside of my job, right? So Thursday comes and a colleague is like, I think we should say something about George Floyd. I was like, I don't know what to say. Talk to the boss. I don't think that conversation went well. Needless to say, nothing was said. Me personally, I'm fine for that. Fine with that. I'm sure a lot of people could say, well, you're the Black woman in the office. You should speak up. Once again, let's talk about energy. Let's talk about battles you know you can win. Let's talk about battles that lessons are learned even if you quote unquote fell, right? And there was that week, there was two conversations about race. So given the current events, and I was not, let me back up. There's two conversations my boss had about race, and I wasn't invited in those conversations, right? I wasn't invited in the conversation to say, like, hey, should we say something about George Floyd? How should we say something from George Floyd? And I'm sure if it came up, I still would have said no, because I just wasn't there. And another thing, there's a lot of brands that were messing up their messaging too. So I really felt like white people were not going to win when it came to the brand messaging. Now, there's some top tier companies that did very well, but once again, they're top tier companies. Ben and Jerry's, Nike, I want to say Reebok as well. And this is my conclusion with that, though. I feel like because these companies were scrambling, and that's what I didn't want my company, I didn't want my job to scramble, right? And it's that, well, silence is a statement versus saying something, saying the wrong thing, or it's not being received well. And my thing with inclusion is if you included us earlier, you wouldn't be in this situation today, right? You have to practice inclusion. You have to practice diversity and inclusion. Every day your door is open. Every day your business is open in order for you to get it right in the moments of crisis. And this is obviously Black Lives Matter. But if something happens to a group of disabled folks, and you've never considered disabled people, you're probably going to screw up too, right? And disabled people, they're definitely an underrepresented minority group, underrepresented group. Like, you know, the thing is, you never hired a person with a disability, or if they have a disability, maybe you don't know. You've never marketed your products and services to a disabled person. So if and when shit hits the fan, of course you don't know what to say because you've never been conscious of it. And that's where we are right now when it comes to the Black Lives Matter movement. So after Thursday, and I'm giving y'all the very abbreviated version of the situation. Let me share this with you. My boss, it was told to me, my boss said we can say something about George Floyd if it was productive. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, I don't need to be pacified. Even though it wasn't said to me, I don't need to be pacified, you know? And my coworker was like, well, I'm sure you know something. And I was like, I know a lot of things. His memorial service is going on right now, and his funeral is on Tuesday. And then she told me, well, when's the next protest? Listen. Okay. It's like, all right, that's what Black people do. We protest. I was like, all right. But the emotional anguish I had in that moment, it was anger. It was like, even now, like, and that was another thing, like so many conversations that week is just tears, like just crying, just holding back my tears to complete a sentence. And before she left my office, she was like, oh, just email me. I'm not sending that email. I'm checking out right now, and I'm off tomorrow. And then came back to work on Monday, and she was like, well, the newsletter went out, but you never emailed me about George Floyd, so we didn't include it. It's like, okay. I was like, all right. Oh, man. Yeah, so many people could say that was a teachable moment. Whatever. But last week was challenging. It was very challenging. And I feel like there's such a disconnect. I kind of feel, and I said this on my IG Live, or I believe I said in one of my IG Lives, I kind of feel like white people don't understand because they feel like it's a random person. Like, my friend asked, can white people empathize? And I was like, nah, they can't. I said they can show empathy towards the loss of life, but not of this magnitude, right? Because what they fail to realize, yes, this is a random person, but it's a series of Black men and women that are minding their business and losing their life. It should not be a luxury for a Black man to be arrested and to go to jail and post bond. And even that, there's a whole nother issue, right? Because of school to prison pipeline, mass incarceration, the justice system. I can give you examples. We can talk about the white woman in Dallas-Fort Worth area with the hair salon who had a Black judge who gave her some punishment. I don't know, but she was supposed to do something. She was supposed to be punished. And you got all these old white men and legislation coming to save her. Plus, she raised $500,000 on GoFundMe, maybe more. And then Tom Cruise, Ted Cruz, whatever, went to her salon to get a haircut. Those are and then you have, we'll just say Breonna Taylor. Right? She don't get enough credit. She don't get enough shine. And this is not the best way to get credit, but there's not enough attention to Black women and issues. That's another podcast episode. But we'll just say Breonna Taylor was at home in bed. She wasn't bothering nobody. And she died. This is the disconnect. This is the problem with America and why people don't seem to understand that. Like, you threw a fit because you couldn't open your salon in the midst of a pandemic. The judge sentenced you to X amount of days, right? You're talking back to the judge, and then you have white men come into your defense and save you from the Black judge. And then you have a Black woman in her home, shot 8 times by cops because they had a no knock warrant, and then it was the wrong house. This is America. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it all. So stay tuned. Perspectives of Black Lives.